on our stories, how we can develop our stories. Okay. Now, there is a lot of requirement of literary elements. Okay. These literary elements are the one who are going to maneuver your story. So these are your characters, your situations, there are different types of twists and turns. There are different settings. Then you will talk about the what is the conflict, the main central problem. Okay. So these are all your elements in the story, which is going to build the whole story and will maneuver to the end. Okay, so that is what are your literary elements. So now we are going to discuss each one of them. Okay, now first is your character. Now let us work on our characters. When we talk about our character, now right now we are not giving a 3D sketch. I'm just telling you about different types of characters here. Okay, now when we talk about our characters, there are 3 types basically. Okay, first is your protagonist. Next is your antagonist. And then there is supporting crew. Okay. Now, both with protagonist is the one who is the positive character. Okay. And antagonist is your negative. Okay. Now, when we talk about the supporting crew, both protagonist and antagonist, they have their supporting crew. Like for protagonist, we can say parents or friends, brothers or sisters, okay, or maybe colleagues. For antagonist, same thing. Maybe the people who are working with them, maybe their parents again, maybe their friends. So they can all become the antagonist. Okay. Then these supporting crews are very, very important because they give color to your stories. Okay, because here see there is something called as novel and novella. Okay, how many of you have read Mills and Boon's novels, MNBs?
I have read.
Yes. So now in MNBs, what used to happen is there used to be only 2 or 3 characters, main characters, 2 or 3. Okay. Now out of that, the story was based on one main character. Okay. That character can be male or female. Now the whole life of that character, we used to focus on that life, on that character's life, and how these 2 other characters are changing few of the things here and there. Okay, so that is called as novella. Okay, when we talk about novels, novels is, yes, protagonist is there, antagonist is there. We have main characters in our protagonist and antagonist, obviously, but now there are different supporting crew also. So we will talk about them as well. That is novel, a bit of complexity. We include some complex nature in our story, where we discuss about the lives of the supporting crew also. Okay, so suppose if a character is there and we are talking about their parents, so we will give a detailed out versions of their parents also. Okay, maybe they have their friends, so a bit of life about the friends also. Okay, we will talk about their personality, we will talk about their life, we will talk about how they are, how they are behaving with the protagonist. So here we include, this is called as novels. This is the main difference between novel and novella, where we give a detailed version of all these 3: protagonist, antagonist, supporting crew, the whole story. These are the main people of the story who will maneuver the whole story. Okay, but in novella is only one character maneuvers. We are only talking, though we are going to talk about maybe 1 or 2 characters more, but our main focus will be on that one character about whom we are going to write the story. Okay, now why do you want 2 different stories? In one story you can have 2 protagonists, 3 protagonists, 4 protagonists also. So when we talk about protagonist and antagonist, there can be as many protagonists and antagonists you want. Okay, so there is no such rule that you only need per story, there should be 1 protagonist. You can have 5 protagonists also, maybe a 10. So if you're talking about the whole Indian team, Indian cricket team, so there are 11 players. So if you're talking about the stories about a cricket match, so we'll talk about all the 11 characters. Okay, so how they overcome, maybe you will give a short, you will talk about how each of them overcame the problem. There is a story, this movie about that female cricketer, I think Mithu, something like that. Anyone have seen that? Yes. So now there, she is the main protagonist. Okay. Now along with that, there are their coach also. Okay. There is an antagonist also in there. There are 2 or 3 antagonists also. So now there, they have talked about everyone, how they have overcome the problems of their lives and came out to play on the for the Indian cricket team, women cricket team. Okay, so it is not compulsory that you're only going to put one protagonist. You can have 4 protagonists, you can have 10 antagonists also, you can have 2 antagonists also, not a problem. Okay. Now, this is what is your protagonist and antagonist. Now, whenever you're working on protagonist, you have to make sure that whatever actions that they are doing, okay, whatever actions that they are doing, they need to be morally correct. Okay, you have to portray a very, very good image, okay, of that particular person. Okay, of as many protagonists are there, so for each of them they should be good enough. Okay, clear for everyone? And now when we talk about antagonist, when we talk about antagonist, there is something called as antagonism also. Okay, now when we talk about antagonism, there we have this not every time we can have a negative character or a human. Sometimes what happens in a story, you can give negative situations. Okay, for example, okay, now for example is you can talk about say, okay, the person is suffering from mental depression. Okay, the character is suffering from mental depression. Now mental depression will become your negative situation or the antagonism. Okay, maybe a person, you're talking about a story where a person is is very, very poor. Okay, and they are fighting or they are trying to get food on a daily basis. So that poverty is your negative situation, that is antagonism. Clear? Where there is no human involved but the situation is negative. Okay, that is known as antagonism. Clear for everyone? Okay, then obviously there is antagonist. Antagonist is the person who is negative. Okay, their actions are negative, they are morally incorrect. Okay, so that means you can talk about, say, how you will, whatever, however you are trying to talk about the antagonist, you have to portray a very, very bad image. Bad image means with their actions. Maybe they are very rich, maybe people, people think about them in a very great way, but their actions, whatever actions or whatever their thinking is, that is bad. Okay, now because of their negative personality, they have become the antagonist in that story. Clear for everyone now? Now,
Can you please
uh,
show that?
now there are something called as foil characters also. Okay, now foil characters are where you can include them, include 2 to 3 more characters also, but they are very, very opposite in nature. Okay, so maybe if there is a group of friends, okay, now it is not compulsory that all the friends are similar in nature. You can talk about their differentiations and how different they are. So maybe one character is very extrovert, the one is introvert. Maybe one person is, very outgoing, very friendly with people, with the strangers also, but the introvert person does not want to go outside the house or maybe wherever they are working. So you are giving a very, very opposite natures of those characters. Okay, so that is your foil characters. You remember um, this movie Cocktail? Has anyone seen that, where Deepika Padukone and Diana Penty was there? Yes. So now both of these characters were totally opposite. Okay, so these are called as foil characters. Okay, so it is not compulsory to include. If you think that it is required, if there are 2 or 3 characters where you want to talk about their stories, you can, or you can want to talk about their personalities, then you can include your foil characters. But yes, a protagonist is compulsory in a story, so there should be some protagonist, there should be antagonist or antagonism. Okay, and supporting characters are important. Okay, so these things are very important. Foil characters are up to you, how you want your, how you want to talk about the personality of your characters. Clear for everyone now? Now let us work on our settings. Okay, now settings are the one where your characters are going to be based on. That means how, where, whenever, when you, for example, you're introducing your characters. Okay, so in your introductory chapter or paragraph, you introduce your characters. Now, where your characters are sitting or standing or talking, what are they doing? Where are they? Okay, so that physical place is known as setting. Okay, and then the surroundings around them. That means what is the time, what is the temperature, what is the climate, weather, everything. Okay, if we are talking about road, okay, the characters are standing on the road. So how the road is it very busy, is there's no, if, whether there's traffic on the road or not. Okay, or, and then how many people are there on the road, people are walking past them. Okay, so all these things become your setting. Okay, now let us understand temporal setting. Temporal setting means the time. Okay, so now time can be different things. Now time can be maybe morning, evening, night. Okay, lunchtime, breakfast, dinner. So wherever, if there's a conversation that is happening when people are eating, so what time of the day are they eating? Are they having only high tea, that is in the evening, or are they having a grand dinner maybe? Okay, so maybe at the night. Are they having a breakfast? So that is your time. Next time is, what is the basically the what should I say, the year. Okay, so recently there are different types of movies that are from the history. They tell you a story from the history, so they give a time. So say if the story is about um, the war. Okay, we had this Kargil war. Now it was in 97. So now if I base a story on that, I will take my readers to that 97 era. Okay, so that is the time. If I'm talking about, say, these kings and queens, then I will take them to that era. Okay, that is again a time. Okay, or maybe if I'm talking about some future, so maybe I will say that, okay, 2050 we are going to, in my story, okay, I'll say that 2050 we are going to have this type of futuristic technologies will be there, cars will be like this, people will be like this, the houses will be like this. So I'm giving them a futuristic information, so I will take them to that future. Okay, so through that era. Clear for everyone? Okay, then time can be your seasons also, your weather, your climate. Okay, so like if your characters are there sitting in a room. Okay, so maybe the outside it is raining or it is snowing. Okay, if it is so snowing in the morning, whether it's snowing in the night, then it is very sunny. Okay, so that you can say that, okay, in the morning it is it is very sunny in the morning, or maybe in the afternoon time in this particular area. Okay, so that is what you are giving, the time, climate, weather, era. Okay, you can talk about all these things, or you can just give a basic information to your audience. So suppose if your audience are standing on the road, you can say that it is lunch, that it is almost lunchtime, and the characters are going, say maybe ABCD are going to have their lunch. Okay, so what you did is you gave them a time. Okay, or maybe you can say, if you're talking about, say, a particular era, you can take them to that era, you can describe that era. Okay, that if you're talking about the kings and queens, so how their time used to be. Okay, so that is what is your temporal settings. Clear for everyone now? Next is your environmental settings. Environmental doesn't mean that we are talking about the environment or the weather. Okay, that is our time settings. Environmental setting is where we change the whole world around our characters. Okay, we give them a fantasy world. That is our environmental setting. Horror, this genre, fantasy, mystery. Okay, these are the perfect examples of environmental setting where you create a environment from your mind. Okay, where the environment is not real, but you make it real. That is your environmental setting. Okay, suppose now what example can I give you? Okay, now suppose you're talking about the era where kings and queens are there. Okay, now obviously if I'm a person, I've never seen that era as such. Okay, I've never experienced it as such. So whatever I know about that era is through different types of books, or maybe I have my parents or my grandparents have given me some type of information maybe. Okay, but it's nothing that I have experienced on my own. So now whenever I am reading such type of stories or maybe books, that time whatever environment the author creates for me, I am in that environment. Okay, now that environment can be good, that environment can be bad also. So but for me, that environment becomes the the main setting of the story. So there I will see that, okay, it's a very big palace is there, and then the queen has got 20 servants to serve her. The king is there, wherever the king walks, the servants are there to spread the flowers. Okay, though this might not be real. Okay, but for me right now when I'm reading that story, so for me that time it becomes real. Okay, so your fantasy stories, your sci-fi movies, okay, they're not real. Your sci-fi stories, they're not real at all. Okay, aliens are coming from the outside world, you have not experienced it, so you don't know whether it's real or not. Okay, clear for everyone? That is your environmental setting. Okay, now comes your individual setting. Individual setting is where how a character is, according to the character you give them a setting. Okay, for example, your characters are studying in school. Okay, so you will talk about their school, how they are, how they are going to the school, how their schools is, how their classes are, how their teachers are. Okay, if the character is working in corporates, so you will give a detailed out version about their office building. Then you will talk about their office inside, how they are sitting, how they are having a conversation with the people around. Okay, so that is your individual setting according to your character, or according to the life of your character. You will talk about, suppose if the character is where you will introduce them, that the character is very homely in nature. Okay, so you will talk about the character's house, parents, brothers and sisters. Okay, so where you will talk about how the house of that character is. Okay, so this is what is your individual setting. According to the character, you will you according to the life of the character. Okay, you will create their settings. Okay, clear for everyone? Now let us work on the point of view. Now you remember we discussed about first, second, and third person point of view. So it is almost similar to what I have told you, everything I have told you about it. Now, when we talk about first person point of view, this is where the narration, okay, the author and the narration of the author is where the author becomes one of the character. Okay, the author is involved in the story. So, for example, you have books by Chetan Bhagat. There are many, especially the Indian writers. They use first person point of view a lot. Okay, because they talk about their stories, they talk about their experiences. In their experiences, they create different types of stories. Okay, this is your first person point of view, where you will use pronouns like I, me, we. Okay, all these types of pronouns will be used where because the character is involved there, so character is talking to the audience, to the readers. Okay, so that is your first person point of view. Now first person, now these point of views, whatever we are discussing, these point of views are applicable to any type of content, for your blogs, for your articles, for your stories, your scripts, your theoretical dramas. Okay, everywhere. So this type of all the point of views are applicable in any type of content that you're writing. Okay, now comes the objective of first person point of view. That is what I told you, where we are going to have pronouns like I, we, me, because everywhere the narrator is involved. Okay, the narrator will be talking about, say, me and my friends, we are all going out today. Okay, this happened with us today. Okay, so this is where the narrator is talking about, it's giving out the detailed out version of whatever is happening in the story. Okay, so that is the objective, first person objective of first person point of view. Okay, next comes your second person point of view, where you are going to have conversations instead of giving any type of say point of views. In second person is basically you will talk about you will have some conversation with your audience. Okay, where you will basically use a lot of you word, you word. Okay, here you will ask questions like, did you know about this? Okay, so that is where you are trying to give out different types of questions, so your audience will think about the answers for those questions. Okay, and if by chance their answers meets or is quite similar to the answer given by or the explanation given by the author, then the interest is generated. That is what is your second person point of view. Now when you read kids books, okay, kids books, they will have, you might have seen an elephant in the jungle. Okay, so now kids will imagine, okay, yes, this is the elephant that I might have seen in the jungle. Okay, or the kids will, or there will be something like let us go, or have you ever been to an adventure? Okay, so now what the second person is, second person point of view is giving your mind something to think about. Okay, so that is the solution that your mind will think about for that particular statement or the question. Okay, so something like choose your own adventure. So that means this is a series of books where once the audience reads that title, once the readers read this title, they will be like, okay, this book is all about adventure, and it is giving us different types of adventures where we have to choose. So let us take it. And if those answers somehow matches, okay, to the solutions or the answers given by the author, the interest is generated, obviously. Then you'll be like, okay, fine, yeah, this is what I was thinking. So let me read more about it. Okay, so whenever you will see these type of shows are there where people are, the travel blogs are there. Travel bloggers, they use this particular second person point of view a lot. Okay, combined with first person. So they will say that, let me take you all to one of the greatest palace in India. Okay, so what happened here? Me is first person point of view. Let me take you. That means the second person point of view. Okay, so now if you read this sentence, let me take you to the best palace in India. So now you will think about what all palaces you have been to. Okay, and then maybe if by chance you have been to that particular palace, then obviously your interest will be there. If you have never been to that palace, then that curiosity will be there, that okay, I need to go there, let me read about it. If I go there, then I can do these many different types of activities, I can see this, I can see that. Okay, so that is what is your second person point of view. Clear for everyone now? Usually second person point of view is combined with either first person or third person point of view. Okay, now let us work on a third person point of view. Third person is where the narrator is not involved in the story. Okay, the narrator is someone else who is writing about the characters of the story, and the readers are going to read it. Okay, so that is your third person point of view. Now here, the thing is, in the objective of this, basically you are going to use words like he, she, they. Okay, because you're talking about other people. Okay, so these pronouns will be used. Now, in your the objective of the third person point of view is basically what happens. Okay, let me first tell you about first person. Now, in first person, what happens when I am talking about I am going, we are going. Okay, I am going away with my friends, I am going to this place. Okay, what happens here is, in first person point of view, the narrator is only talking about the protagonist. That means whatever is happening around the protagonist, that is what is happening. Okay, in the first person point of view. Clear for everyone now? Okay, because everywhere I, me, we is there. Clear for everyone? In third person point of view, what happens? Because the narrator is outside the story, is not involved. So here the narrator gives a detailed out version of maybe all the characters involved in the story. Okay, so suppose if there are three protagonists, then the narrator will talk about the three protagonists' lives. If there are two antagonists, then the narrator will talk about the life of the two antagonists. Okay, so all the characters, if there are 5 characters in the story, all are given equal weightage. Okay, that is what is third person point of view. In first person point of view, only the character who the narrator is, that is given the 80% of the weightage in the story. Okay, whoever they are with, then according to maybe the character, if the first person point of view, the character is there with their friend. Okay, so maybe a small description of the friend will be there. Okay, but everything is happening according to that main character. Okay, that is not the case of third person point of view, where you will talk about each and every character. Clear for everyone now? Here in your third person, see, in first person you're only talking about one character, because that is the narrator is only the character, so they are only going to talk about one character. Okay, in third person you can have as many people, as many characters will be there. Every character will be a main person, a main a main character, where it can be protagonist also, it can be antagonist also. So every character is given equal opportunity. Okay, so that is your third person. Now in your third person point of view, there is something called as omniscient. Okay, omniscient is where here the characters, the readers can understand each and every character's emotions, their feelings, their personality, because each and every character is given equal weightage. If I have 4 protagonists in my story, that time I'm going to talk about all 4 together. Okay, so say maybe if A is there, A character is there, then I will give a detailed out version of A, then B, then same with B, C and D also. So that is where I am going to talk about the characters' thoughts, emotions, personality, everything that in my using my third person point of view. Okay, same I will do with antagonist also. Okay, then when if there is a conflict also in the story, then how that conflict is affecting each protagonist or maybe the supporting cast also, I will give a detailed out version of that as well. Okay, because I am the third person, I am as a author, as a narrator, I am the third person, and I have to talk about each and every, because for me all my characters are equal. Okay, so that is your third person point of view. In first person, this thing is not possible because only one character, the story revolves around that character only. That character is the person who is the captain of the whole story. Clear for everyone now?